Nssw, what was the biggest cockblock moment you've ever faced? Went to a party to try to meet some girls. My younger sister, 16 at the time, decided to come with me, get drunk, push a girl I was flirting with off the front porch, and vomit on my feet. Needless to say, I went home early that night with no phone numbers. Was in my bedroom with my girlfriend. Suddenly I hear a knock on the door. We quickly get dressed. Yes, Dad, just checking if you're home. My ridiculously hot neighbors invited me over to watch a movie at like 11 PM. My roommate was out of town, but his brother was staying at our house for a couple days. His brother heard movie and invited himself over. Even though I tried to persuade him not to, he sat on the floor and watched the entire movie. It was a crappy movie that we didn't have plans on actually watching. Meanwhile, I'm on the couch with the girls and we're kinda fooling around under the blanket. Then after the movie is over he says, "Let's watch another." The entire time I was desperately sending signals trying to tell him to leave. None of them work. So when he mentioned watching another movie, my neighbors were like, "Now we're getting tired. I guess you guys should go home." And that was how my ex-roommate's brother cockblocked me from a threesome with two of the hottest girls I've ever met. On a happy note, my roommate heard about the story when he got back and did everything in his power to rectify the cockblocking. Dude BBQ'd one night inviting the girls over, then politely excused himself because his girlfriend wanted him to come over. He didn't have a GF. And thanks to him I had one of the most memorable nights of my life. So while my roommate's brother was the ultimate cockblock, my roommate himself was the ultimate wingman. Woo wow, now that's deserving some major respect. Nothing better to make up for cockblocking than wingmaning your butt into take two for success. I think the biggest cockblock I ever did. I was going back to my apartment around 3 AM. I was waiting for my elevator. After some time the elevator door opens. I see like around 5 guys and 1 girl inside. This girl seemed to be doing something and as soon as the door opened they all stopped doing whatever they were doing and just looked at me. I had a feeling something was up, so I waited for a few seconds to see if they were getting out or staying in. No one moved a muscle, so I was like, frick it, I'll just get inside this elevator. As soon as I got in, the girl said, "Frick this, I'm getting out." She goes out and 3 other guys follow her trying to talk to her. So now I'm in the elevator going to my floor with 2 other guys. At one point when I got out, one of the guy just bursts out laughing. So I think I may have cockblocked a gangbang. Beats having to use the stairs. I was round my boyfriend's house watching TV and waiting for us to go to some church function with his mum. We also had one of the other guys over that went to the church function, as my boyfriend's mum was giving him a lift, and he was a bit odd. Anyway, my boyfriend and I excused ourselves upstairs to have some fun. At the time, his bed was like a bunk bed, only it was just the top bed and then had a desk and futon under it. Right as we were about to start, the other guy suddenly walks into the room. No knocking or anything. He then proceeds to sit on the futon and not say or do anything for over an hour until we had to leave. No fun time for us. So when I was a teenager, during the summers I worked at a Boy Scout camp. Now despite what you might think, pretty much every year some girls end up working at the camp. Normally a scoutmaster's daughter, or someone's sister. Typically around 5ish. And since we were all frisky teenagers, hookups were somewhat common. The year I was 17, I hit it off with one of my female co-counselors. Now we had a weekly event at camp where we played a camp-wide game of hide and seek. The girl and I find a spot a ways off the trail in the middle of the woods. No one is going to find us. We start making out while we wait. Things start getting hot and heavy. Are we gonna go all the way? I'm still a virgin at this point. Her shirt is halfway off when she freezes. Did I do something wrong? This is uncharted territory for me at this point. She's looking behind me. Frick, it's a camper probably. Frick, we're gonna get fired. I turn around and about 40 feet away is a motherfucking bear. Terrified we slowly stand up and back away. Luckily it was only a black bear, which are rather chill as far as bears go, and it barely seems to notice us. As soon as we were out of its eyesight we booked it back to camp. And we did frick. But not till like a week later. So yeah, cockblocked by a fricking bear. Dang right you fricked after that. A scary experience like that is panty dropping stuff if ever there was. My friend had, months earlier, put a novelty 2 small condom into a large bag of assorted condoms that I got free from the public health office. Oops, I dropped my minuscule condom for my microscopic dong. Not exactly a cockblock, but I was making out with this girl I liked at a park when a homeless lady tapped my back to ask for spare change. Save the clock tower. Had a small gathering in my very small apartment for my birthday. One of the guests was a girl I'd had a fling with about a year prior, and another guest was my new girlfriend. The girls had talked about a 3-way to each other before, but had never actually met till this night. I obviously thought it could happen this night, so when we all went to the bar, I wanted to stay behind. Since both girls were a few months from being old enough for the bar, my friends were I was bailing on them on my own party, so I went to the bar out of guilt. Once at the bar, I explained why I wanted to stay home, and a light bulb went off in their heads and they let me go. I took a cab and was home for no more than 5 minutes before another, very socially awkward friend showed up because the bar was boring. He completely killed the mood, especially since the walls were thin. You bailed on a 3-way to go out with your friends. They must be freaking awesome people. I was hooking up with a girl in my basement. We were both juniors in high school. She's practically naked, and so am I. Then I hear a call from upstairs. It's my younger brother. He need help pouring milk into his cereal. Okay, I put pants on, run upstairs, help him, and run back down. Back to business. Now we're naked, and I'm about to have sex for the first time. I hear my name again. It's my younger brother. He needed advice on whether to teach his Pokemon a certain move or not. So I put some pants on, run upstairs, help him, run back down. She was no longer in the mood. Thanks, Jacob. I'll be there in a few minutes. I was at the Salvation Army's camp. Ikbad place to start, and me and this girl snuck off during breakfast to a random cabin. A few minutes in and everything was going well. Little did I know that girl's little sister had reported her missing and 1/2 the camp was out searching for us. Luckily we heard them and got up before they caught us doing anything, but still ruined it for any future opportunities. Talk about jumping the gun. I lived with 3 other guys in college in a house not far from campus. One night 2 of my roommates and I managed to get 3 girls back to our place and ended up starting a game of strip poker. About halfway through, and the girls were topless, our 4th roommate shows up. Since it's 3 and 3, we assumed he'd just bounce out or go hide in his room. Nope. 2 minutes later he comes storming into the dining area, wearing just his underwear, and says we're all caught up. Whose turn is it? Needless to say the guy was adult and within minutes the girls had to get going. I'd be pee in the moment, but this is hilarious LMAO. Years ago, my live-in girlfriend at the time was an exotic dancer and invited one of her co-workers over to get together for what would have been my first and only threesome. Friend comes over and the 3 of us have some drinks to relax and get to know each other. Cue my butthole drunk friend knocking on the door and inviting himself in and sitting down to drink with us. I tried to subtly get him to leave, but he was having none of it because he was interested in the GF's friend. When the girl stepped out of the room, I then tried to get him to leave more forcefully, but he was drunk and wouldn't go. So he ruined my only chance at hooking up with 2 hot dancers. I should have dragged my friend out of the apartment. There was this guy in my school who was just superior to me in every way. Smarter, fitter, better looking, way funnier. Anyway, I was out with this girl I was super into at the pub, and it was going really well. Said dude shows up and instantly turns me into the 3rd wheel, just by being himself. He was oblivious to the whole thing, but it threw everything off the rails for good with the girl. Dog jumped on her face mid-coitus. Another time, I thought her mom was opening the door, so I tried to get in the closet but ate crap on her clutter and made a freaking racket. Ate crap on her clutter. Dude, I thought that was some kind of Scottish slang for a second. Well, not me, but my sisters always brought me to places when they didn't want a dude they were meeting to hit on them. Exes, friends, work associates. I cockblocked them all, being the older brother who got a free meal as payment for making it weird. You could tell half of them were hating me while I ate and made stupid jokes, breaking the mood. You sound like a good brother. I was driving 2 friends home from a small town carnival type festival. They were both into me. I was only interested in one of them. The other I had very briefly dated and then she broke up with me. Dated a dude for a week or so and then wanted back together. High school BS. The one I was into I had spent a good chunk of the night holding hands with, being extremely flirty, and ended up making out pretty hard during the fireworks display. Whispered in my ear, there's only 2 more things I want to do with you tonight. Get in my van. They get in the back as they were friends. I'm intending on dropping the ex at her place first, but I guess she had threatened the other girl into convincing me to take her home first. So yeah, I was P. And girl I was into was moving away in a few weeks and kept her distance until then. I was obsessed with this girl from 6th grade all through HS. Never got anywhere. Second year of college she went with me to her formal. We are at the hotel bar and start fooling around. She says, "Are you gonna frick me tonight?" So off to the hotel room we go. 10 minutes later this guy from my frat comes banging on my door to tell me he left a $50 tip on my tab and that I owe him. This couldn't have waited till later. Killed the mood. 8 years I waited for that. Frick that guy. Never ever tell people your room number. About 175 pounds of Irish Wolfhound Newfie mix. He didn't like me kissing his owner up against a wall and was quite clear about that. My dad never left the house. This made it very hard to try to lose my virginity since my girlfriend's parents didn't either. Finally, I knew he had class and he would be gone for a solid 3 hours. I invite my girlfriend over. I frantically clean the house and start making fettuccine alfredo, her favorite, and what she requested. I finish the food and go to my room to sit and try to calm down. She texts that she's 15 minutes away. I wait for what feels like forever and finally after an eternity I hear the garage door open. A cold sweat comes across me. I run downstairs to greet her. My dad steps through the door. He came home early from teaching. It smells good. Did you make dinner? I'm still mad. At this point I think he's doing it deliberately. Me and a close friend booked to go on a holiday together, but before we went he got himself a girlfriend. No problem. We just called the hotel and swapped our twin room for a double and a single room. However, when we arrived at the hotel they had instead put all 3 of us in a family room and claimed they had no other spare rooms, meaning we ended up sharing a room and accepting a big discount in return. Both my friend and his girlfriend lived with their parents and it was obvious what they had intended to spend the week doing. At one point his girlfriend dropped threesome hints when I was alone with her, but I just laughed it off as I knew both myself and my friend would find it awkward. My freshman year I took a classmate to the dining hall so I could help him with his homework. I was wearing a t-shirt for an obscure band that I love. Car seat headrest if you're wondering. This super cute girl with tattoos stops me and is like, "I love that band. I saw them live just before I left home." My friend walks over and says, "I'm sorry, he's autistic," and drags me over to his table so I can help him with his homework. I'm all for friends teasing and roasting each other in good fun, but he definitely violated some act of the bro code. Our 1-year-old daughter woke up at 1 AM and started crying in her crib right before I was getting ready to pipe the wife. The all sibling prevention alarm. There was a wee journal on the local news station for a few years I was in college that was super hot with an amazing butt. Anytime my friends and I saw the news we would stop and watch her segment. Couple years later and a buddy starts dating one of the anchor women from that station. One night we all go out and she brought that weather girl along. I start spitting my best game and it isn't getting me far. Then she points to some clouds and asks if I know what kind they are. I actually get it right and then manage to hold a decent conversation about meteorology related stuff. It completely won her over because most guys can't talk about it intelligently. Before long it is clear we are going to frick. Leave the bar and head back to my place. We are getting undressed and seconds from me finally realizing my dream of fricking the hot wee general when a friend knocks on the door and says they have to leave. Turns out my buddy drank too much and couldn't keep it up and things got awkward so she bailed on him. God damn it still makes me angry and I still give my friend crap about it 10 years later. You're right to be angry. A parrot that wouldn't shut up until it was fed really ruins a mood. Myself, because the second lady had distinctly said she wasn't interested in sleeping with other people before she got drunk and slept in the bed with my partner and I. When I was 18, one of my friend's elder sisters, 28, took a liking to me for some reason. She hit me up on MySpace and said I was so cute, etc. His sister was smoking hot. Definitely the most attractive girl that had ever blatantly hit on me like that. So I thought it was my friend freaking with me and I just played along and said stupid crap to be funny. But it was actually her. My friend and I went to a high school football game shortly after that and his parents and sister were there and she was flirting with me like crazy and that's when I realized she was actually into me. We all went to the beach after and we started making out in the water. She pulled off her top and everything, which was crazy because I had had one girlfriend previously and didn't do anything as crazy as making out with a half-naked girl in the ocean in the middle of the afternoon on a crowded beach. We all went back to their house and her and I were laying on my friend's bed watching him play guitar. I was about to suggest we go to her room because I could tell my friend was getting uncomfortable watching me lay with his sister when suddenly we hear their mom scream from the backyard. She had seen us laying next to each other through the window and stormed into the room, kicked me out of the house and grounded her nearly 30-year-old daughter. My friend gave me a ride home and the whole time his sister was texting me telling me to come back and it's not a big deal. But it was too freaking weird so I just got out of there. So I got cock-blocked by her mom and banned from their house. A few years ago in college, my 3 roommates and I were hanging and getting drunk. Typical weekend. Later that night a few girls we knew came over to hang out and all was going well. We were single except for one of my roommates. He had been dating a girl for a couple years and needless to say, she was awesome and we all loved her. Drunk me is the pinnacle of moral and ethical good. I don't know why, but I'm more likely to do moral wrong while sober. I walked outside to see my not single roommate starting to get way too friendly with one of the girls that came over and I stopped that crap pronto. Not on my watch was he gonna drunkenly frick this up. He drank more and passed out, and I did the same. While a vague memory to me since I was drunk, I'll never forget the look of shame and relief on his face as he thanked me the next morning for not allowing him to ruin his relationship. He has 2 kids and has been married to that girl for 6 years now. Also drunkenly stopped a foursome between 2 of my roommates and their girlfriends, but I also think that was for the best looking back on it. Her gay best friend that lived with her. I go to the bathroom with this girl I met on Tinder. We start undressing and kissing and all of a sudden her gay best friend has to use the bathroom, banging on the door demanding we get out. Later I found out the gay best friend drunkenly asked my friend if he could suck his dong. My friend said no, so he got mad and decided no one was getting lucky that night. What a douchebag. Me and my wife were drunk at our friend's party and were crashing there. Well, things got a little heated on that PJLL out couch when this girl I absolutely loathed and some greaseball she was with came downstairs and started fricking on the couch next to us. I swear their pants were off prior because he just stuck it in and went flaccid pretty quick and started re-emming them out. Now I was drunk but I do remember saying I don't want to get soaked with grease here in the splash zone. The next morning I heard he was a 2-pump chump. Good times. Well crap, it sounds like you only gave him enough time for 2 pumps. Banned kid on our Disney trip. Sitting on the Tower of Terror between some of my friends. Grab friend's hand to my left for squeezing during the drop. He says, "What? Do you like me or something?" I let go and grab friend's hand on my right. Friend on the left and I have been dating for 2 years now. He found out like 2 months ago that he cock-blocked himself. If there's anything I miss about being in a relationship, it's the scare cuddles. I mean, do it too aggressively and it's uncomfortable, but do it just right and you feel warm, brave, and like you can take on anything. And then they tell you they feel safe with you and you feel even more courageous. I am married with 2 young children. Any attempts at canoodling makes kids want a drink of water, have to go to the bathroom, can't sleep, or be hungry. Seriously, a 12-pack of Trojans has lasted me about a year and counting. New Year's Eve, over a decade ago, had a lady friend over. We had separate plans for the night. We were just hanging out. I knew her as a friend for a few years. We'd chat or occasionally hang out, but we were never very close. Somehow, the conversation turned from friendly chat to flirting and clothing removal. My phone started blowing up. I had dinner plans with the guys before heading to a party that night. After ignoring 2-3 calls, I answered. Told the guys I was busy and to go eat without me. I asked them to come pick me up after they were done. 10 minutes later, I'm receiving a BJ and I hear the sound of my bathroom window opening. My friend was breaking in to drag me out with the guys. I guess he assumed I was trying to ditch for no reason. He recognized her and embarrassed the heck out of her. She left and severed ties. I've tried to apologize since, but I don't think she ever replied. After all this, I still went to the party with my friends. At the end of the night, we're all, a dozen or so mixed company, crashing in a huge room. One of the girls decides to sneak in bed with my dong-blocking friend after she thought everyone was asleep. I wasn't. I tried to ignore it, but when the slurping noises started, I shouted "Frick you dong-blocking butthole." This startled her, causing her to accidentally bite him before jumping away and running to lock herself in the bathroom. I felt bad for embarrassing her, still do. He got what he deserved. My conscience once cock-blocked me real hard. Me and her naked. Condom was already on, lying half on top of her, and then that sucker reminds me that the girl would probably be better off without us having sex, because she was really into me, and I on the other hand just wanted some fun. Afterwards she was really pee about the whole thing though, so frick your conscience. Your conscience should have thought of that before both of you were naked. Too late at that point. At the after party for one of our band's shows, I had been talking to a girl for a few weeks. She was away at college and came back for our show. We had been flirting all night. Hands around waist, quick little hugs, etc. A bunch of us went out to the garage for reasons. We were done and everyone else went back to the house, leaving the two of us out there alone. We are talking, getting closer, both starting to get rather bold with our hands. As I'm leaning in for the first kiss, the guy that lived there turns on the lights and is like, "The party's inside." The girl got super embarrassed and headed back into the house. I spent the rest of the night trying to get things going again, but she ended up getting too drunk for me to feel good about doing anything. Senior year in high school, a guy wanted to jerk with me in the back of a bus on a school trip. It was late and dark. I was all about it, but this girl I was good friends with wanted to cuddle, so I, a gay man, cuddled with a girl for her benefit instead of doing what I wanted. Jesus. My friend was dating this girl that they were just into kissing and petting. She would kind of fall into this weird semi-non-responsive thing. First time he didn't notice cause she was still kissing. Second time he asked if she was okay with mild responses. And third he just stopped and waited for her to come to. Turned out she was orgasming for minutes from kissing alone. After this happening a couple times, she started groping his junk through his jeans, and when he was about to start getting undressed they both stopped and said they need to be in control. They couldn't go this far without being married. So yay, Jesus left him at kissing. They didn't marry. Probably a good thing due to other reasons. And when you see only one set of footprints, it was then that the girl left after I cock-blocked you. Had her top down, kissing on her chest, hand up her skirt, and my best friend pounded on my bedroom door so hard I thought it was going to break. It was violent. She stopped dead, fixed her clothes and walked out of the room. He was so proud of himself for scaring us. She left a bit later, and shortly after I never saw her again because she moved. Never in our friendship had he ever been so childish, and never has he been since. To this day maintains he wasn't thinking about what we were doing, just wanted to be in, but was sleeping with my boyfriend 2 doors down the hall on a weekend during spring break. Roommate didn't know and my phone was off, and apparently I am always back in my room at night, so she got worried. She called dorm staff, who called the NYPD, who filed a missing person report. Only after did she knock on my boyfriend's door to ask if I was there, so surprise. We were interrupted by her and 4 dorm administrators who asked me to come with them. Our school has a policy that once a report has been filed that a student is missing, that student must be cleared by a psychiatrist once found, but since it was spring break and the school's one psychiatrist was not in town, I was forcefully brought to a local hospital's emergency psych ward. There, they took my phone, all my belongings, and locked me in a white room with literally nothing to do and no way to contact my family or friends. 3 days later, a doctor finally interviewed me and I was released. After missing my boyfriend's solo Merkin Hall debut. He's a pianist, and after he had to fly out of the country, I was then charged $14,000 for room and board and emergency care. There was literally no care and I was literally trapped in a closet-sized room with not even a pencil for 3 days while people around me screamed about how they had fantasies of strangling everyone, etc. It was great. My roommate was forevermore nicknamed by our friend group as the most successful cockblock ever. I was forcefully brought to a local hospital's emergency psych ward. I was then charged $14,000 for room and board and emergency care. This is not healthcare. This is kidnap and ransom scheme. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.